Welcome back to Core Motivations Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Connolly. I'm a certified Enneagram coach and a Symbis marriage coach. Perhaps this is your first time joining us. I'm happy that you found us. For those returning, I'm so excited that you have committed to growth through this podcast. Last week's episode, we talked about change and mindset. How's that going for everybody? Are you finding ways to embrace change by having a different mindset? It is difficult, but practice makes better, right? So I have a short one for you today. I want to go back and talk about the last type in the head triad. And just a quick reminder, based on the way each type relates to reality through three differential centers: the head, the heart, and the gut. So last week we talked about the Enneagram 5 and 6 and their triads. So let's finish up the head triad with type 7. And let's answer the question, how do sevens handle things in the midst of change? It's very interesting, very different from most. Well, let's get into it. Type 7s, they adapt quickly. They seek adventure and new possibilities because they struggle with boredom, leading them to either create change or dive in headfirst. I find that part to be very interesting. Most of us, other types, when change happens, we hide from it. We want to run from it. We do all these different things that create this lack of curiosity, if you will. Where sevens, they're much different in how they respond to change. So, keeping in mind, we can see many react with uncertainty, vulnerability, using defenses or their fears and desires to lead their actions or lack of action to a situation or experience. While sevens have this amazing ability to adapt to uncertainty, which can cause them to react by ignoring the change, even purposing to seek out positive distractions. They don't want to feel trapped in emotional pain, being limited, or bored. And they can have this feeling or impression that they're missing out on something fun, which is also their core fear. Again, they tend to avoid vulnerability by being optimistic through planning and use of humor. So, when there is a push towards change, their defenses are rationalization or reframing negative experiences through idealization, ultimately keeping options open to prevent that feeling of being trapped, which can come from childhood experiences where they felt a lack of security, control, or even support. And it can lead to an internal belief that they must rely on themselves. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Moving towards finding fulfillment. And it helps them to avoid inner emptiness. And remember that their core desire is to be happy, fully satisfied, and constant. So when change comes or is being experienced, we, as the people in their lives, can help them adapt to this by providing structure within freedom. We can encourage them to sit with discomfort instead of immediately distracting. You can validate their feelings without letting them bypass pain. Perhaps even involve them in solutions to avoid feeling trapped, and then plan future fun as a light at the end of the tunnel, that being the reward, right? We can make sure that there's an allowance for flexibility by giving choice and option, avoiding forcing a one size fits all by not being rigid. It helps us to remember that mindfulness is one of the key successes to change. So maybe like me, you were looking for a trademark for type sevens. And it would be that they would shout this from the rooftops, Carpe Diem. And while Roman poet Horace established this phrase was, in my opinion, Robin Williams, who played teacher John Keaton in Dead Poets Society, when he said, "Seize the day, boys, make your lives extraordinary," giving it a modern day cultural impact. Now, I don't know if you've seen that movie, but I can't recommend it enough. And no, I'm not getting paid for this. I just really loved Dead Poet Society. In fact, when I think of it, I'm brought back to the moments of watching it. It's filled with all kinds of emotion and humor and fun times. And it's kind of like a coming of age kind of movie. And it's Robin Williams. So there's that. Sevens, they truly embody seize the day, making them the true master or masters of spontaneity, always seeking out new adventures and ideas and experiences. See, sevens don't just live life, they devour it in an appreciative, joyous way that carries others along for the ride. I wonder if maybe we can all take time out to celebrate the joys of the day and even seek them out a little bit more, making these small joy moments victories. Hey, do you remember last year when we talked about the five good, where you write out at the end of the day the five good things that brought you joy? Maybe we need to bring that back. I know it would help me to remember when days can be so full and so long, it's easy to forget those things, those little things that brought joy. So, I don't know. Maybe we should try it again. I challenge you. Well, I know you're wanting more knowledge on triads. Instead, I wanted to have a little fun. So let's talk about a character who is classified as a typical Enneagram Type 7. And the one that comes to mind is Daniel Hillard, aka Mrs. Doubtfire. This is such an iconic movie. So much fun, great music, chock full of comedic moments, and even some serious scenes as well. The music scene that I can think of was the party that he threw for his kids, and they're on the table dancing. Anyways, the foundation is fun, fun, fun with the people the main character, Daniel Hillard, loves the most. And there are some really funny one liners. Hello! Whenever he answers the phone, and the emotional farewell, all my love to you, Puppet. And of course, her witty observations like, my first day as a woman and I'm getting huff flashes. We do know is that he is an out of work voice actor. He has lots of jobs, so says his resume. And that one scene where he's being asked what skills he has, and he does all these voices. He's in the process of divorce as the court determines what custody looks like. And I just want to pause for a moment and recognize how difficult divorce is, not just on the man and woman, the husband and wife, the dad and the mom, for them getting divorced, but the impact that it has on kids. And I think it's important to just note that it is such a difficult thing. And not only do I not advocate for divorce, my hope is reunification, that people would find ways to come together and find solutions to the problems. But as someone who has had the experience of divorce, sometimes it's necessary. But I just wanted to stop and pause for a moment. Okay, back to Daniel. We see clearly that he is a class clown, but really wants to just have fun. One of the many favorite things about his character and nature, he would prefer to not be too serious. His single goal is to be with his kids, and he is willing to do just about anything to make that happen, even answer an ad placed by his ex-wife for a nanny housekeeper. He applies for the job, dressed in a costume, and becomes the iconic Mrs. Doubtfire. The entirety of his employment is taking care of the kids dressed like a woman. He is full of pretending and resorting to all kinds of tricks, which often result in hilarious situations. Despite what seems to be immature, irresponsible, and knowing that his heart is in the right place. There's no doubt that he is a devoted father who's desperate for quality time with his kids. He also becomes or embodies the loving, disciplined caregiver, showing the softer, more responsible side of parenting through becoming Mrs. Doubtfire, where Daniel, not so much. Like we said earlier, the key traits we see in that of Daniel, Mrs. Doubtfire, is spontaneous and fun, loving, imaginative, and inventive, also avoiding any semblance of pain, boredom. Daniel, or Mrs. Doubtfire, is multi-talented, juggles multiple identities and roles, such as dad, housekeeper, chef, listener, book reader, hug giver, and actor with high energy. As an Enneagram 7, Daniel experiences FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So he wants to experience everything, leading to scattered energy, but also boundless joy, like wanting to be at all his kids' events. Remember, his core desire? Always to be happy, fulfilled, and have his needs met, avoiding pain and restriction. So that is my assessment of who Daniel, Mrs. Doubtfire, is as an Enneagram 7. And as I continued to explore more about sevens, I found some songs that really express the character nature through these lyrics. And while I can't play these songs on the podcast, royalties and all, not only will I read them, but I will post the links in the show notes. No, I am not singing for you. I do think that it can really help you understand a seven's core desire. So the first song is Try Everything from Zootopia. If you haven't seen it, it's fun. You should see it. I love it. I've watched it many times. So the beginning of the song, I keep falling down, but I keep getting up to see what's next. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give up. No, I won't give in. I want to try everything. Really, the title is a dead giveaway of their true nature. Try everything. Okay, the next song, Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time. The world, turn it inside out. Don't stop me now, because I'm having a good time. And then the last song I found, it's called Sleeping at Last by Atlas, and it's specifically written for Enneagram 7s. How nice it'd be if we can try everything. I'm serious. Let's make a list and just begin. What about danger? So what about risk? I'm restless for whatever comes next. There is a whole playlist that is based on each Enneagram type. You should check it out. I will post it. And now, the legal stuff. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. This podcast is not a substitute for medical care. The materials, movies, videos, or books referred to in this podcast are recommendations only. The views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the podcast host. That's me or sponsors. Join me each week as we dive into all things Enneagram, self-care ideas, self-love patterns, and rhythms, share ideas from other reputable authors, doctors, and my favorite podcasters. A big thank you to you for being here with me today on Core Motivations Podcast. We're counting on you to help spread the word about this little corner over here at Core Motivations. So hit the follow button, share this episode with someone, and please leave a review. It is always such a pleasure to spend time with all of you. You can find me, Michelle, on Instagram at Core Motivations_coach or through email, Michelle at coremotivationscoach.com. So let me leave you with this. Until next time. And as always, I'm rooting for you.